All right. Welcome back everyone dito sa latest episode. Ito yung mga Team Pinas special natin kasi last time napaka-busy itong kasama natin. Bigatin kasi itong kasama natin. Nandun na sa mga inner circle, inner sanctum conversation. Nagka-high five tayo last week. Pero may nagchismis na parang wala rin pala. Ano na? Attorney Dino De Leon, welcome back dito sa ating Team Pinas collabs na naman series natin. Attorney Dino De Leon, should we panic or should we get excited? Ano bang state of mind natin ngayon?
Well, we should be both. We should be both, ha? Dapat. Hindi katulad kasi nung iba, masarap ang buhay na pa-Europa, biglang tinakasan na lang kami sa with due respect, nandun na pala sa Europa, no?
May,
Yung mga
may skin in the game kaya naghanap na ng exile just in case. May listahan may listahan.
Seriously, I mean, it has to be both. No, we have to a little bit panic considering the data that we're gathering, but at the same time, we should not lose hope, di ba? And we should prepare early. Sa akin naman, kung may natutunan tayo nung 2022 elections, kahit 2025 elections, hindi naman mas maganda yung outcome kasi yung mga tao mas maaga nag-mobilize ng manpower, human resources, di ba, ng makinarya. So, naiintindihan natin yung importance of preparing early, no? Do we think that kailangan magpanik tayo dahil doon sa numero? A little bit. A little bit. Kasi numero yun eh. Yun yung datos na nakuha ng mga kilala rin naman at pagkakatiwala nating mga survey companies. Does that mean that those are absolute numbers? Hindi. Kasi ang kritisismo nga doon sa mga survey companies is hindi nila nahatak yung nakukuha yung datos nung tinatawag nating Gen Zenials, di ba? Yung Gen Z Millennials. Kasi every time na pupasok sila doon sa mga households na kinakatok nila, eh mukhang nasa opisina, nasa school, yung mga Gen Zenials who will make up the larger 60% or 60 to 63% of the voting population, no? Pero datos pa rin 'yon. So wag nating i-dismiss 'yon, di ba? So medyo magpanic, but all hope is not lost. And rest assured, and I want to assure everyone, batay na rin sa aking mga nasasagap at sa mga conversations I've had the last week, no? And recently, yung mga taong mga kaibigan natin na nakausap natin sa progressive opposition movement is rest assured that we will do our best to fight earlier, more prepared, and there will just be one candidate. Yan ang assurance na nakuha natin. So, kung merong nakuha doon sa mga conversation, sinasabi nila, nagkwentuhan lang ba? Nagkwentuhan. Hindi ibig sabihin, walang kasabang plano yung kwento. At wala ring general principles of agreement na sinettle. No? Meron din. So, nagkwentuhan is accurate. It is a regular gathering of friends is accurate, but it does not mean that we did not talk about the things that ought to be done. No? We did, and there is hope there because yung mga taong pinagkakatiwalaan ko, mga heroes ko, are working together to make sure that there's going to be a better electoral outcome come 2028.
So Marites but with strategy. Oo. What para sa bayan Marites series bang ganun? Just to give people an idea how important Dino is. Ito yung kasal ni Dino. And imagine the shot I didn't realize si Bam pala yan at Kiko in the background.
Oo
Imagine
nga,
that.
no?
That's Bam and Kiko. Oh my God. Like,
Oh my God,
parang
oo nga, no?
na-realize. I was just, of course, I saw the three angels. And sabi ko, Ma'am, selfie pa tayo. Boom. Biglang, pagtingin ko kanina ng isang araw, yes, andyan lang si Kiko and Bam,
Si
di ba?
Bam at si Kiko rin pala nasa likod.
Like, what are the chances na mag-align lahat within one frame? Di ba? Kasi ang
Wow.
ikot-ikot lahat. Like, it was so serendipitous. Parang,
Yeah, wow, wow.
that was
Yan yung
even,
ano, kumakalat
oh,
yan ha. Yung picture na yan. Yung kasal ko was more than a year ago. Tapos biglang
oh.
umiikot ulit yung mga pictures dahil sa'yo.
Dahil sa akin, pati yung favorite kong bagong website, meron Di Umano na bagong
Di umano.
website. Puro mga marites. Di Umano. Tapos, Di Umano, may pag-asa, sabi ni A. Darian.
Meron naman talaga, hindi lang
Meron
hindi
naman,
umano, no?
oh.
Meron naman talaga. If there's anything, no, yung the mere fact na nagsasama-sama yung mga progressive opposition who I think really mean well sa nangyayari sa ating bansa means na we've matured, I think, as an opposition movement. We know that a campaign needs strategy, a campaign needs resources, a campaign needs us together, no, together, banding together. So lahat ng nandoon, kahit yung mga nakausap ko a day before that, no, diba? Sila nakausap ko rin naman. We had dinner and with a couple of, very mga legal luminaries and mga well-known personalities in the business community. So we had a simple gathering of friends again, dinner. Ang talagang naging discussion is mukhang there's just gonna be one candidate. So and I can confirm that there's already an initial discussion about this.
Sabi nga ni Sir Ronald, a certain Ronald Llamas, di ba tayo magpanic until next month? Sabi niya. Sabi niya,
Yeah, totoo.
"Why is
Next
it
month
to
kasi yung
panic
galing.
until next month?" Sabi niya ganun. So, okay, let's have a proper discussion around it. So, as people could see, alam mo naman, bardagulan ako ng konti. I think people know na for me, I think people, folks like Senator Risa, Senator Leila de Lima, I think these are folks who have proven their mettle of leadership. So I think people are clear where my preference is in terms of who I think has a medal. And I think I said this on the record. I've talked to some people in the inner sanctum of the other side, prefer din nila sa Risa. I've talked to also some other person who could be in the mix. Prefer din niya si Risa. So, it's not like pinipilit lang natin si Risa out of nowhere. No? Having said that, of course, there are other considerations and we can debate about those considerations. So, having said that, ako naman, Dino, and I think this is where I hope you agree with me kasi mamaya magwardagulan tayo. The position should be whoever is the good candidate that will be chosen para sa ating bansa, united tayo around that person. So there should be no worry whatsoever na whoever will be chosen, hindi kasi mas prefer ko si ganito. Hindi. So that's why I signaled, you could imagine a BAM presidency could be best and brightest. Imagine Vico Sota as the DILG secretary. Imagine, I don't know, VP Sirisa or something like that. Or you can imagine Torre there in the mix. Or you can imagine Lenny making another run. So actually, we have many good options, and whoever is the final option, I think it has to be clear, di ba? At least galing sa atin, Dino, no? Well, hindi ako kasing big time mo, pero at least yung mga small time na thought leader, di umano katulad natin. We're gonna support whoever's best for the country. As simple as that. It's not about partisanship. It's about national interest. But having said that, Dino, ang debate ngayon ay basically two levels, no? Do we have enough time to talk about the mechanisms, the best possible mechanism by which to choose? And number two, what should be the mechanism or the indicators upon which to choose? Because historically, mukhang the mechanism is kung sino mataas sa mga huling surveys, malapit na sa elections, yun na ipapatakbo natin. And I just feel that is not healthy. And not to mention that could not work again. As we saw, coalition building is important. As we saw, Lenny went from 3% to 25% within few months. So, if nakasalalay lang ito sa survey na just before election, medyo delikado at problematic yan on many levels. I think we can at least agree on that. So now the question is, Dino, do you think now is the time to discuss the mechanisms? And then what do you think are the mechanisms we should discuss or di umano, discuss na as we speak to choose that one standard bearer para hindi split ang centrist forces, progressive forces?
So happy ako that there was a conversation. There are recent conversations and there will be this actual conversation, no? Na pinatawag rin naman ng ating mga pinagkakatiwalaang mga tao to actually at least initiate that discussion. I agree with you na minsan kasi sobrang rabid supporter tayo ng isang personality. Pero that will not separate us from all the other people who are personality-based, diba? So I understand, diba? I love Risa, I love Laila, I love Lenny, pero let's trust that these people will be able to settle this. And once we've already selected that candidate, rally na tayo behind, no? Behind that particular candidate. Having said that, no? Yeah, lahat, walang iba, 'di ba? Walang iba, lahat tayo we will be behind that candidate, no? Parang sa Democratic primaries or sa Republican primaries, 'di ba? Pagkatapos nila, almost all of them will actually endorse a singular candidate, no? So parang ganoon sana ang tinitingnan natin. So do we have time for the mechanism? Absolutely. It's early, I think, no? For so long as we settle the candidate mga third quarter to fourth quarter this year. Fourth quarter is a little bit late, I think, pero okay lang. Kaya pa yon kaysa yung 6 months before. No? Basta it has to be settled within this year. And again, as I can confirm, there are a series of meetings that are being called as we speak and have been called as we speak for this purpose. Mapag-uusapan natin yan. Of course, these people will keep us posted. Kung sakaling makasama ako sa mga diskusyon, I will keep you posted. No? Pero yung mahal natin si Laila, mahal natin si Lenny, mahal natin si Kiko, mahal natin si Risa, all
Si
of these
Bam.
people, ang opinion ko si Bam, ang opinion ko dito, para tong intramurals. Lahat sila presidentiable dapat. Whether sa gusto natin sa ayaw, kasi heroes tong mga ito eh. Tsaka meron na silang medal ng leadership na talaga pinagkakatiwalaan natin. Any one of those names na sinasabi ko, veterano. Any one of those names, statesman, di ba? Yung talagang high level discourse ang kaya na. Lahat yun matatalino.
Hindi
Lahat yun
kurakot.
pinatunayan na. Hindi kurakot. Matalino, pinatunayan na yung pagmamahal nila. So sa akin, intramurals yan. Pero within them, ano yung consideration? No? Winnability lang ba? Diba? Winnability is one. Pero kailangan rin kasi natin tignan na kung mataas sa survey yung isang tao, ang question is, nag-peak na ba siya? Yun na ba yun? Kasi kung kunyari, for example, kung 4% or 17% si Lenny, di ba? Yun na ba yun? Kasi baka naman kailangan rin natin tingnan yung kaya bang lunukin ng mga ibang tao na kailangan pa rin naman nating i-convince whatever happens. Because whether we like it or not, we only have one nation and we have to live alongside them. And the question is, if we really want to win them on our side or at least convince them to vote for our candidate, palatable ba sa kanila or absolutely hindi? Sino ba dito yung mga pinaka-palatable, no? And this election is ultimately about numbers too. So ibig sabihin, even in the selection of their vice president, of their partners, di ba, of their slate members, politics of addition ba? No? Yun yung kailangan rin nating tingnan ng mga consideration. Pero sa akin kasi ang pinaka-importante rin, Richard, I don't know if you agree with me, is yung desire and yung walang duda and grit to see this through. Hindi kasi madali yung battle eh. 'Di ba? So to see this through, ibig sabihin, wag na dalawang isip, mission ready. 'Di ba? Kung mission ready, handa nang gawin ito, yun ang I think one of the most important considerations rin. No? So sana kung na-select na siya, wala tayong alinlangan. 'Di ba? We will all deliver, including her, hindi yung her or him. Kung hindi pa rin sigurado yung ulo. Ang hirap kasi gumalaw kung wala pa yung ulo. Tsaka kung meron na yung pinaka-ulo, yung pinaka-principal, I think everyone else will toe the line. So doon sa intramurals na yan, no, sa akin yung palagay, lahat ng mga kandidato, not just for president, vice president, for senator, for congressman, yung mga political parties, kung tingin ng mga tao na pwede silang tawagin sa serbisyo publiko, I think they ought to be ready. We all ought to be ready. Like whatever happens, no? Whether we like it or not. Kaya nga sabi ko, intramurals yan, and we will have to give it our all come 2028. So rally behind one candidate, and we all have to give it our all. And we prepare early, we start campaigning early, we start mobilizing early, we start organizing early and mobilizing resources early, no? And ito yung 2026. But at the same time, let's not lose track of the real fight out there kasi yung kabila, ginagawa rin yon. So kailangan makakita rin ng sambayanang Pilipino bakit dapat tayo at bakit dapat hindi sila.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Dun sa numbers, in fact, I don't know if you caught it, dun sa isang Team Pinas discussion natin with Cleve, no? Arguelles, because he oversees yung WR Newell, etc. and our professionals, we 100% trust. Like, sabi ko, ang suggestion ko is, para naman makita din natin, if ever Ma'am Lenny really is not decided on this by the end of this year or earlier, dapat sana, to see the potential of other candidates, sana makita yung second preference, third preference, or pwede siguro tanggalin si Lenny just to see what will happen if Lenny doesn't run, saan pupunta yung votes niya. I'm absolutely sure the numbers of Bam will go up, Riza will go up. It's going to be a different one. If Rafi Tulfo doesn't want to also run, or none of the Tulfos want to run, maybe remove them kasi sila yung number 2 and 3 parate. And it's very possible those two will not run at all, right? But dahil they're there in the surveys, it kind of creates some sort of distortion, or it doesn't show yung potential lakas ng ibang candidates. Now, obviously, yes, if you're a candidate, you can do privately commissioned surveys, etc. Pero alam na naman natin, this is about shaping public opinion eh, di ba? This is the information battle space. This is about the viability debate. So it matters yung publicly available surveys niyan because it goes to the question of viability, which I feel is actually a very fuzzy term at very debatable yan. Like, if viability was basis and Lenny went from 3% to 20% no October to like December of 2021, then that tells you actually this initial surveys are not saying much, assuming even the surveys are really capturing it. And then if you bring in the second preference, third preference, etc., alignment, realignment, it creates a lot of things. But having said that, Dino, should even viability be the primary issue? I mean, if a person asks you, will Mamdani win a year ago, right? There were only few of us who were following him. Kasi ako, tuwan-tuwa ako dun sa social media style niya at the fact na he was speaking multiple languages, di ba? Although alam ko he was being trained because I'm talking to my friends and all. But nag-effort yung tao, di ba? Nung una, nag-cringe yung tao. Sabi niya, I'll freeze the rent. And then tumalon siya dun sa freezing water, di ba? Sa New York, di ba? Like, people were making fun of him, man. Cringe naman to. Napaka cloud chaser. Ayan, next thing you know, global phenomenon. Like we have so many stories, like Biden even nung 2020 nung tumakbo siya, 'di ba? Talo siya kaagad dun sa first, 'di ba? And if not for I think South Carolina, tapos ng laban and yet he went all the way, 'di ba? And then later on, they put it together with Bernie. So, what I'm saying is that ang daming ups and downs in elections and hindi naman sa fickle-minded ang voters, but I think the field is very very fluid. So, I have some problems with viability debates or at least how viability is measured traditionally given how disruptive politics pays off and how ups and downs is really the name of the game. Unless you're Sara Duterte, which is where I think we have to be realistic. Tama ka, Dino, no? You really need one candidate lang talaga because in fairness to Sara Duterte, she has held on to that plurality of vote and that 80 to 90% of Mindanao, which is 80 to 90% of one-fifth or one-fourth of the entire vote of the country. So that easily gives her a cushion of 15 to 20%, which no other candidate can boast. So that's the structural reality. So Dino, should there be primaries? Is there okay, I hindi naman spill the beans, pero is that even realistic given wala naman tayong talagang political parties or anything like that? At least in the US, there's primaries, magsalpukan kayo, but at the end of the day, there'll be a Biden, I don't know, Bernie commission to put the Democratic Party together and beat Trump. At least meron silang ganyan. Tayo, wala tayong party systems in a serious sense of the term. But can we still do some sort of primary or internal primary? Or should this be in the smoking rooms or e-cigarette rooms behind making decisions about it? How do you see this going?
I don't think there's gonna be yung like a convention style primary. Kasi we don't have that organized thing, and it's gonna be stupid to organize that now. No? Stupid in a sense na hindi kayo makakasettle. Kasi iba-iba eh. Di ba? Ano ibig sabihin nun? Sinong political party ito? Anong ideology? Lahat yon hindi pa yun eh. Hindi pa yun masisettle now. And kung yun si settle natin, buti sana kung nag-start ito no 2022, di ba? Eh kaso we have 2.5 years and too much discussion and too many cooks, I think. No? So what's the best thing that are left to us, di ba? Hindi naman smoking rooms, some sort of we leave it up to the leaders that we trust that they are discussing this, and for them to be able to at least regain the democracy first. And then settle muna nila. Ako ang na-sense ko dun sa mga conversations ko, including the one that our picture that went around, parang could convince na lahat isa lang talaga. Masisettle natin to amongst ourselves at isa lang talaga. No? So yaan yun. I think yung selection process na yun, hindi siya smoking room, but a lively discussion amongst them first, and then we trust them at this point in time. Parang gano'n yung nakikita kong process. Hindi yung parang democratic primaries, live debates, tapos we select, and then mahaba yung proseso, regional, every region may debates, or every location, no? Hindi na siya magiging posible. We don't also have the resources and the funds for it at this point in time, unfortunately. That is ideal, and we should go towards that direction, but for the purposes of 2028 elections, not just yet possible, unfortunately.
Which brings us to the second layer of discussion, which is what about the interface? Because when you say one candidate, what do you mean? One candidate from everyone else or one candidate from liberal progressives? Because even some are already positioning for admin, like si John Vic said, also isa lang pwedeng tumakbo, although he's also throwing his name into the ring. Without spilling beans, we know that there are conversations about a potential grand coalition of, let's just call them middle forces. I think Senator Trillanes has been more open and forthcoming about this. What about that aspect? Because Not because naka 2 rounds na kaming ganyan, but I can always see General Bato. I think he's still not retired. Four-star General Bato, general manager of MD. He for Bato, like sorry, Torre.
Oo.
Well, I mean, four-star general din si Bato, di ba? Na hindi pa rin lumalabas. Nasaan ba si Bato? Mamaya, balikan natin si Marcus and Bato shortly. But on this point, like, what about the interface part? Because the evolution of the debate, at least with Ronald and other friends, is mukhang variegated strategy will make sense. There could be some sort of non-official or semi-official grand coalition. I always thought Torre is perfect because he has credibility on all sides. He has connection to the admin. I just hope na kung anong mga hindi naman bad vibes or whatever is behind the scenes with the whole PNP chief thing, I think they should get over that because realistically, Dino, uh, we parati natin sinasabi, pagpapanik ba tayo? Well, guess what? The 2020 elections will be so existential. I'm not ruling out crazy stuff, right? You need security. You need logistics. I mean, I'll be just brutally honest about it. The stakes are too high for everyone, right? So some would say realistically, there has to be some sort of a crossover, if I can use that term. And I just feel General Torre comes perfect in terms of any potential crossover. It could be Riza Torre, Bam Torre, I don't know, Lenny Torre, whatever. But I don't know. You tell me, is that the kind of a crazy discussion, or you'll have basically two versus Sarah, but it's really like 1.5 versus one, or something like that, right? Like magkakaroon ba ng Gibo like 2010, whereby Arroyo at Gibo but had a Villarroyo, right? Like there are a couple of models we can talk about. The other one is variegated or stratified marketing strategy. So kunyari, pag nasa Ilocos Sur ka or Lawag, medyo imply mo na may blessing ka na kay ano. Pero pag sa rest of the country, especially Mindanao, or yung mga areas na hindi popular ang admin, ay hindi talaga lalayo ko. I mean, I'm sorry I'm saying this openly, and of course, you don't have to confirm if the other side is, but I'm just saying, ganun yung level of discussion ngayon, di ba? Granular na tayo. I mean, we mean business here kasi skin in the game lahat eh.
Well, ako, ano naman ako, no? Baka wishful thinking ito, pero I might, I'm thinking, mas effective siguro yung strategy na hindi explicit yung endorsement. So kung gusto nilang tumulong, tutulong sila behind the scenes. Bakit? Sabi ko nga, baka ba too idealistic ko. Pero I believe that the rhetoric, the predominant 2028 rhetoric is pagod na kami sa trapo, pagod na kami sa magnanakaw, pagod na kami sa corruption, pagod na kami sa excesses. We want an entire slate that is credible. And kung tinaas bigla yung kamay mo ng admin na, to be frank, ang baba ng admin ng ano ngayon, kahit sila may logistics, ang baba talaga kasi ng credibility nila, di ba negative pa nga yung approval rating. So, that an outward endorsement might be counterproductive. But I agree that we need their machinery, we need the security. Ang iniisip ko, dapat the administration should really also make existential rin naman sa kanila eh. They should also make sure that they will support a viable candidate. Unfortunately, they don't have any other viable candidate right now, no? Si General Torre can be, 'di ba, something that we can discuss.
Parang a bridge.
Ano yan?
Parang a bridge. He could be a bridge,
It
right?
could be a bridge, pero hindi ko alam kung presidential or vice presidential na, baka senatorial. I'm not sure, no? Kasi alam mo yung dynamics between the PNPA and the PMA, di ba? So, hindi ko alam kung the PMAers will be happy. Meron silang unreasonable tension there. Eh, no? So, that is something that we also ought to consider. But definitely, General Torre will be an asset. I'm not sure if it's presidential or vice presidential at this point in time.
Yun nga eh, kasi the way I see it, baka magsi-split-split na yan, kanya-kanyang diskarte lahat. Gibo's name is popping up again. Remulias are putting themselves into this conversation. So much so that the other Remulia who's an ombudsman had to say, ay, hindi ako bababa kung nanalo presidente yung isa or something. Like, um, and this is why some of us were saying baka kailangan na natin magpanic kasi mukhang ano to eh, collective action problem classic to eh. If everyone goes with what they feel is the best way forward on their own without looking at the bigger picture, magkakaroon tayo ng collective action problem. I mean, if people want to realize it, panoorin nyo yung ano, yung Beautiful Mind, yung part ng when 'di ba? When John Nash is explaining dating strategy, 'di ba? If everyone goes for one person to date and then ignore it. Wala nang mangyayari, di ba? But anyway, wag na tayo mag-Nash equilibrium here, game theory. But I'm just saying, I'm worried we might move in that direction of ano tayo, suboptimal.
Ang usual discussion kasi, Richard, di ba, yung if it's a three-way, four-way fight, we'll all probably gonna lose because solid ang Mindanao. Yun ang sinasabi. Solid ang Mindanao. Yun ang sinasabi. Some data show that, and I agree naman, we should respect those data. Pero I don't know if I'm naive, pero I think those data are not capturing yung 63% Gen Zenials masyado. So while those data show na solid ang Mindanao, we all agree too that there are limitations in those data. And the new wave of voters na nakikita rin naman natin, sinasabi na attribute yung mataas na showing ni Bam and Kiko because of the younger voters, I feel like will show up for the country, even the Mindanaoans, no? Ang nakikita kasi sa data is para bang homogeneous yung Mindanao na 97%, Sarah. Totoo naman, yun sila pinapakita ng datos na yun.
Yeah, but bro, I just sorry, just to
Yeah.
challenge you slightly on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. If pinanood mo yung discussion, wala tayong exit polls, right? Kulang tayo ng studies. So I agree with you in principle, but we have a proxy. Bongo was number one, Bato was almost number two. And a lot of that vote came from millennial and Zillennial. So we have some proxy to show that even the Gen Z in Mindanao and all seem to be strongly behind Duterte candidates. Where I will agree with you though is maybe it's not a given forever. There's where I agree. But I would say I think the available data would suggest that in fact there's a lot of also Gen Zillennial na also pro Duterte. Kaya nga nag-up si 25 million ba? 26 million ba nakuha ni Bongo, di ba? Or 20 million si Bato. So I would say so far the data or proxy data suggests hindi pink ang Gen Z necessarily. But I'm willing to agree with you that if we know more, baka naman you can turn them in supporting progressive candidates. Just to give a corollary qualifier.
Yeah, I agree ako dun sa proxy data na it does show. Pero at again, the proxy data's limitation is 12 kasi yung choice mo sa senatorial polls eh. On a one-on-one, we barely have any data except the surveys, no? And I feel like hindi given yun pag one-on-one na pagdating doon sa Gen Z niya. Sana makikita natin. It's the first time siguro natin makikita this 2020. Having said that, yun nga, baka nga na-event na pagka na-in na I trust the voters even in Mindanao that there is a chance that in the sacredness of the ballot, they know naman, di ba? They know what's good for the country and they also know na hindi lang naman pwedeng anger towards Metro Manila, di ba yung sinasabi nilang
Imperial Manila.
Imperial Manila. I feel like even the Mindanaoan voters will be able to get over that rhetoric if we would be able to get our acts straight. So while I respect yung 97%, yung seeming approval rating or who will go with Sarah, no? I'm willing to bet, kaya nga siya bet, I'm willing to bet that she won't get 97% of Mindanao. I think she will not even get 75% of Mindanao. I think mataas na yung 60%. That's my reading of the situation based on yung behavior of Gen Zenials, based on the fact na one-on-one ito, and based on the fact na of course kakamada rin naman tayo doon, di ba? Yung opposition, pero rin naman ang daming well-meaning doon na who understands that Sara Duterte is a threat to our democracy, that Sara Duterte presidency means very bad for the economy, who means the sindikato na naman ang mga makakuha ng businesses, na grabe na naman yung korupsyon, and alam naman nila yung mga ebidensya na meron tayo ngayon no? So I think fearless forecast, whatever happens, kahit na 3-way, 4-way, 5-way fight yan, Sara Duterte, marami na yung 60% in Mindanao. That's just my fearless forecast.
Yeah. But there's also a possibility Sara will not have to run in 2020 if ma-impeach si BBM. What is your read of the situation? Kamusta ang... like, everyone is assuming we have to wait until 2028 to get Sara. What about the scenario we get Sarah slightly earlier than scheduled? Like,
Ayun,
what's your
panic
take about
yun.
this impeachment? Yeah, exactly. I mean, okay, real talk na tayo ngayon.
Oo.
For the
Impeachment, I don't think will be the impeachment of Bongbong will not be strong. The majority floor leader pa rin si Sandro. I think alam naman nilang walang direct evidence linking BBM to the flood control. Ang sinasabi yung kidnapping ni Duterte, very clear yung legal basis. So wala talaga magiging impeachable offense at this point in time. One thing by performance, I think one thing, pero that is not an impeachable offense, no? So I don't think malakas enough. I don't think politically yung House will allow itself to be used for such political adventurism, di ba? At least at this point in time, mas naniniwala ako na bibigyan ng House based on its composition, its politics, yung impeachment ni Sara Duterte. Pero ako lang malinaw, kung si Sara Duterte gets to replace, mamatay si BBM, wag naman sana, di ba? Or may mangyari, or may impeach, we have to wait. We have to prepare for Sara Duterte presidency until 2034. At the very least, we give up nila yung kapangyarihan. Mahirap naman lalo sa 2028 with them controlling the government because we already saw both in 2019 and in 2022 na hindi sila willing to give democratic space, no? Talagang iipitin nila lahat yung mga lokal at gagamitin nila yung machineries ng state na gipitin yung mga anyone na who will even accommodate lang not kapit, who will even
yeah.
accommodate the opposition on the ground. Gigipitin nila, hindi kahit na hindi pa nila sinasabi susuportahan na.
Oh, kasi baka man-narco list ka lang, lalagay ka na sa narco list. I mean, we saw that in 2019. I think, you know, I did contribute to Freedom House and some of these other indicators. They should not have counted 2019 elections as free and fair. It was nowhere close to a free and fair election. I think it
I
was
was
the
campaigning
worst
there.
ever elections we have had
Yeah,
in recent memory.
I
I
was proxy
think,
for
oh, since
Pinohilbay.
2004, I think that was the worst elections.
Yeah,
Totally unfair.
yeah. I was proxy for Pinohilbay there. Allergic sa amin yung local government unit kahit mga kaibigan namin kasi sabihin nila, yayariin kami. Tapos may time pa na dinedeployan sila ng pinapalitan yung police commander nila ng mga well-known violent killers ng mga time na yon. No? Tapos magbe-behave na yung family. So kahit na gusto kang supportan or kahit man lang gusto kang i-accommodate, sila yung makikiusap sa'yo na kung magkaibigan talaga tayo, huwag kang pumunta dito sa akin kasi you will endanger our political survival. Magkaibigan na yun makikiusap sila na wag. They will use the friendship card to you imbis na ikaw makagamit ng friendship card sa kanila. So
Oo,
talagang be
paunahin ka
fair.
nilang
Be
pare
fair.
kasi ikaw gusto maging senador, ako ayoko mamatay, parang ganun basically.
Correct. Or ayoko magipit. Gusto ko makapag-govern, maawa ka naman sa amin tsaka sa constituencies ko. Diba?
Yeah.
So ang hirap pupunta kami doon, ilan-ilan lang yung napuntahan naming lokal kasi takot, hindi man lang kami makapagdebate, hindi man lang kami makapaghatak ng plataforma, hindi man lang kami makapag-privilege speech. No, wala talaga hindi. So pagka-presidente sila, gagawin nila yon for sure.
Yeah, and look at it, how they do it. Nagsalita lang si Congressman Bello about dun sa isang report, pina-cyber libel. Tayo po ay nagtanong lang dun sa Supreme Court ruling, pina-contempt ako nung mga yan. I mean, they're anti-democratic forces. It's not just they're illiberal, they're anti-democratic. I mean, they just don't believe in any other voice. May pagka-fascista talaga, to be honest about it. May
No
pagka
respect, no respect
no
for rule of
respect.
law, for
Oo.
free speech, no. Hindi just because we disagree. Yun automatically for them, they don't tolerate dissent except theirs. No? Pag sila nagdi-dissent, okay lang. Pag tayo nagdi-dissent, bawal. Nakita naman natin yun, di ba? Pinakulong sila Ella de Lima, pinasuhan lahat yung Ocho Derecho, plus si VP Lenny, sila Sen Risa, tsaka lahat ng mga kaparian. Noong 2018, related to Bitcoin cases, simple teacher na magti-tweet, kinuha sa bahay, kinulong, pinaluhod sa harapan ng TV, di ba? Lahat ng mga lokal, sinampulan, yun nga, papalitan yung police nila, or gigipilin talaga sila, no? So grabe yung choking nung bosses ng mga ordinary, kahit na ordinary tao, kahit politiko, kahit na sino, you cannot speak out. And once Sara will be in power, of course, a lot of them will also toll the line and then sisip-sip na lang. No? Kasi
No
hindi naman
joke.
lahat
Yeah,
ng tao
no
yan
joke.
matatapang. So yun yung unfortunate. Sana hindi. Hindi pa ready, I think. No? And I'm not sure whether our democratic institutions, actually, ang kutob ko, hindi na, our democratic institutions would be able to stand another Sara Duterte. I think Sara Duterte is worse than her father. I think mas unstable siya. I think mas wala siyang konsensya. I think mas gahaman siya sa pera. no? Kasi kahit na yung bank accounts nila allegedly na 2 something billion joint account pa rin nila yan, no? Tapos si Digong, alam mong yung may corruption, di ba? May corruption. Pero hindi mo alam yung hindi ganitong magnitude, no? Na grabe yung pambababoy doon sa pera ng bayan. Tsaka DepEd money na yun, ha? DepEd money na supposedly at the time na meron tayong crisis sa edukasyon, no? So I think she's more corrupt. But they're both corrupt, no? Pero I think she's more corrupt because she has been trained at such a young age. Si Sara Duterte, yun nga, joint account na sila ni Digong Duterte simula pa lang.
Batang-bata pa lang. Tsaka, mas damage ang institutions natin because when Duterte came in, you still had a degree of institutional proofing by Pinoy or at least democratic deepening, no? Not perfect, pero ngayon, medyo talagang fragile ang democratic institutions natin, di ba? So much so that even the president's position right now is fragile by just opening up the discussion around corruption and all of that. Where do you see this corruption investigation going? Hindi na ba safe si Jinggoy? Si Joel ba safe ba? Sino bang hindi pa safe? Kasi mukhang hindi na safe si Bong Revilla.
Ang nakaka-frustrate sa akin, yan mga yan, hindi naman talaga dapat mga safe yan mga yan. Pero nakaka-frustrate sa akin yung mga safe na safe. Yung bang hindi lumalabas yung
Ay,
pangalan
tumataas
sa
yung
mga
kilay ko
investigation?
bigla. Wait lang.
Oo, yan. Si Jesus Escudero, bakit di na lumalabas yung pangalan? Bakit si Bongo, si LTG Builders, hindi mo na naririnig sa mga investigation? At ang pinaka-frustrating sa lahat, bakit parang walang diskusyon ni Mark Villar? Siya yung DPWH Secretary nung peak ng mga skandalo na ito. 'Di ba? So, yung Mark Villar DPWH Secretaryship ang nag-enable, number one nga si Gerard Construction na nagbabag ng mga government infrastructure nung time ni Digong, di ba? Number one si Gerard. Doon sila naging number one. Doon sila, sabi ni Saris Kaya, doon guminhawa kanyang buhay. Siguro ng DPWH contractor sila. Tapos sino ba DPWH secretary doon? Bakit ba parang free squeaky clean right now na wala man lang discussion of his involvements and or incompetence or both, no? And at the same time, parang walang investigation whatsoever. No? So sa akin, yung mga hindi na safe, okay, fine. Pero mas frustrating sa akin, yung para bang safe pa rin sila at para bang hindi sila nasasama doon sa diskusyon. Kasama na dyan si Pulong tsaka yung 52 billion niya. No? Parang yun at least yun na di-discuss. Pero yung CLTG, parang tahimik sa Senado, di ba? Si Senador Bongo, yung kay Senator Mark Villar, parang tahimik na tahimik talaga. Dapat, para bang may selective talaga yung finding ng truth na to, hindi the whole truth ang hinahanap natin. Pero parang it's being used as a political weapon. No? Regardless of who the personalities are, I think dapat tamaan yung dapat
How is it
tamaan.
a
Kasi kung
weapon? It's not targeting the Duterte camp, right? I mean, kung sana
hindi
nga
kasi
ginawang weapon pa, baka naman may chance pa si BBM to turn the tide, di ba?
ang nakakainis dyan is marami rin namang gumagamit ng scandal against the BBM camp, di ba? Kaya nga tinan mo yung kala Curly Discaya 2022 to 2025 lang yung nilalabas doon sa ledger, ayaw ilabas yung 2016 to 2022. So they learned how to weaponize the flood control scandal against BBM and his administration at this point in time kahit sila yung nag-launch, which is why sad-sad yung popularity nila. Tapos sinong greatest beneficiary? Si Sara Duterte. Tumaas lahat yung approval and beneficiary, yung trust rating niya, approval rating niya dahil biglang nakalimutan yung mga kalokohan niya. Tapos para bang wala naman siya, at least Sara Duterte mismo sa flood control projects, di ba? Flood control ang pinag-usapan, di nakalimutan na corruption din naman yung sa DepEd, corruption din ba yung sa confidential funds, no? Pero pinag-usapan yung sa flood control at mas na-attach yun dito ngayon sa current administration. Tapos yung mga investigation, nakakalimutan, tingnan din kung ano nangyari noong 2016 to 2022. So frustrating na maraming squeaky clean at this point as if kahit na ang laki naman supposedly based on data and based on their roles, ang laki dapat ng investigation linking them to the flood control scandal.
Which makes you wonder what's going on here. Kasi last time we talked, sabi naman natin realistically, hindi naman talaga kaya before the end of the year. Last year, consider mabigat tong mga kaso na ito at mabigat yung babanggain mo dito. I mean, last year was a winning streak sa Sandigan Bayan for interesting people, right? Lahat sila nanalo lahat sila na-acquit eh. I mean, what's happening in the Sandigan Bayan also, by the way, like, kailangan bang bantayan ng Sandigan Bayan? And hindi ba kailangan airtight din dapat? I mean, to be fair naman to Boying Remulla, he openly talks about corruption in the justice system, or did he say judiciary? And also about the need na dapat airtight para hindi mabaliwala yung mga kaso. So, where do you see that angle playing into why
Ako,
perhaps wala
naniniwala
pang
ko,
kaso?
yeah, ako naniniwala ko na kailangan kamantayan sa Bigan Bayan. Sobrang baba nung conviction rating, tapos sisihin lang nila yung ombudsman, di ba? Well, kaya rin naman bumaba kasi grabe rin naman yung ombudsman ng panahon ni Martirez. Regardless, both of them, I think, kailangan bantayan. So, kailangan bantayan yung Sandigan Bayan, kailangan bantayan yung ombudsman. Tsaka ako, naniniwala ko, kailangan televise yung proceedings pag corruption ng issue eh. Ako lang dapat televised yung proceedings dapat no. There has always been a debate on why hindi yung televising of the court proceedings, pero paniniwala ko diyan dapat televised because the courtroom is a public space. Hindi ako naniniwala doon sa sub judice principle na completely applicable sa Pilipinas kasi it's a United States of origin in a jury system. Supposedly, the judges and justices are trained to just take a look at the evidence and not be swayed by public opinion. Pang ano yun, pang normal tao na hindi nag-law school ng 4 years, hindi nag-training, nag-prejudicature, alam mo yun, nag-training as a judge. No? Kasi kami, bawal po kami kahit na po anong po feelings namin, bawal kami na hindi mag-cite sa ebidensya para sa conviction at sa record para mag-acquit. So laging record lang yan at ebidensya. No? So I think everyone dapat subject to transparency and accountability to the public. And I think the judges and the justices are no exception. That's just on the policy level. No, kasi we are also human beings and they are also prone to temptation, prone to errors. At least they ought to be on their toes if they know that the public is watching them every single time. No? So yun yung aking palagay. No? Pero kung tanong mo, bantayan dapat yung ombudsman kahit si Boying Remulla. No? I know that he means well. Pero also, we've seen his track record in the past. Diba? He's a human being. Meron rin niyang political considerations. No? Na sana hindi niya nagawin. Sana mas mataas yung really call for of duty niya ngayon dahil nga nakita niya na siguro yung mortality before. No? So I'm hoping for that. Pero hindi rin malayo na potentially dahil nga si Gilbert Remulla is running, maybe running, is considering to be president, that the office of the ombudsman will also again be politicized kasi magkapatid sila. Kaya kailangan bantayan si Boy, lalong-lalo na rin yung ombudsman, yung Sandigan Bayan.
I mean, they're a dynasty. I mean, what else?
Correct. So, yeah, dynasty yan. So, even if we wish him well and we are hoping na totoo yung mga sinasabi niya na hiningi niya yan, trabaho na yan, gagawin niya yung trabaho niya, bantayan pa rin natin.
So we're going towards the end of discussion. So here naman, to be fair to the other side of equation, what I mean, advice, but I'm just kidding. So when it comes to Sara Duterte, should she also be worried na baka hindi siya abot ng 2028 as the February lapse of the basically ban on filing of the impeachment approaches? Although, of course, let's not go too much in details. Our amazing Supreme Court has new rules that has its own dynamics. How do you see that playing? And also yung corruption charges. Could you see Boeing endorsing articles of impeachment based on investigation of the available evidence?
Kinakabahan na dapat si Sara Duterte kasi galit kayong taong bayan. Kinakabahan talaga dapat siya. Bakit siya dapat kinakabahan? Kasi may ginawa naman talaga siya masama. Di ba? Alam naman yung ebidensya naman na yun, hindi naman yung niluto, hindi naman yung peke, di ba? May ginawa ka talaga masama, Sara Duterte. Meron ka talagang nawawalang pera, 125 million in 11 days, actually 8 days, di ba? Talagang tinamper ninyo yung liquidation at nag-invento kayo ng mga pangalan ng chichirya. And ang difference is, merong galit yung tao ngayon dahil nga sa flood control scandal. At ombudsman si Boying Remulla. Si Boying, I think, ang alam ko, di ba, he is already taking a look at yung AMLC files for the flow of money doon sa 2.9 billion
bakit
pesos
lang,
account.
di ba? Parang tagal na dapat ginawa yun. Napaka-low-hanging fruit yung AMLAC niya.
Kasi nung tinatry ni-retrieve yun dati, from the ombudsman, kasi bago ka, pag puipirma ka ng salin mo, nakalagay doon sa baba, you are authorizing the ombudsman to verify. And the ombudsman can just request from the AMLAC. Unfortunately, noong pumutok yun, nag-assume na si Martirez. So it is only the ombudsman right now because of the waiver sa ilalim ng SALN na they're authorizing the ombudsman to verify. Yun yung naging malaking difference. Ngayon si Boying na eh. At kaka-assume lang rin Boying. Alam ko kinuha niya na yung files, last kanila yung files, they're verifying yung inflow and outflow of the money. And if Boying Remulla will be true to what he said, na ang boss, ang taong bayan lang, hiningi niya yun, he has his sacred duty to implement the laws and to implement anti-corruption laws in the country, di ba? Gagawin niya yun. No? So, ina-attain si Boying. Si Boying will be the crucial part of, or the crucial factor that which will spell the difference between whether or not we'll be able to hold Sara Duterte accountable, whether he will endorse it and whether he will legitimize whatever documents is there. Kasi may dokumento naman si Trillanes, no? Pero hindi kasi yun na-legitimize ng ombudsman, no? Para bang leak, ganun lumalabas doon sa mga documents na nakuha nila, no? Kaya nga dapat gusto sana nila impeachment para mapasabina nung time ngayon kasi si Martirez pa. Pero wala na si Martirez, meron yung waiver na yon sa ilalim ng SALN. Pag gagawin ni Boying yon, may-endorse sa House together with already an authenticated document that is legitimized, no, without violating the bank secrecy law.
Si Martirez hindi pwede kasuhan for dereliction of duty. I don't know how to put it. Kasi parang basically figurine siya, di ba? At best.
Well, ang sasabihin niya siguro is ang baba talaga ng conviction rate, diba? Pero sasabihin niya dati in this particular issue is wala namang information sa akin or, wala kasi formal complaint din about this before, di ba? Ngayon lang rin kasi people didn't trust him to begin with na wala namang mangyayari. Pero ngayon na nandiyan na yan, at least for Boying, this is his chance to really show to the world na he means business and he will really go after yung mga tiwali. Lalo 2.9 billion. Alam mo ba yung sabi, yung mga cheque daw na pumasok doon is a lot of them are from confirmed drug lords and drug peddlers, no? Na and consistent yung pagpasok ng certain amount of money para bang allowance, no? Yung at least yung supposedly damning dito sa mga bank documents na to, na allegedly nasa possession na nila Trillanes. Yun ang intindi ko ha. Pero again, dapat makuha itong mga documents na to through Ombudsman Remulla.
Absolutely, absolutely. Last point on this, if we discuss kanina sinong mga dapat team up and sinong dapat ang united opposition, ano naman namang potential vice presidential ball? Because it looks like Mark Oleta is emerging as the favorite to be the vice presidential candidate for Sara Duterte, and it makes sense. There's a north-south kind of corridor there. There's also, of course, the strong INC base. And then, of course, Mark Oleta strikes again. I mean, what is your read of his performance so far as a senator? I don't understand. What is this Diskaya, Witness, Curly, mga like what's going on there? I mean, is this even helping Mark Oleta's case? I'm not sure it's helping his popularity or whatever.
Well, tandaan natin, hindi natin alam kung sinong donors ni Marcoleta kasi sabi niya may mga kaibigan siyang donors na hindi niya nilagay sa kanyang SOSE. Kaya nga siya nakasuhan noong December ng grupo na kontra Daya, di ba? Tsaka ng Advocates of Public Interest Law. So, I'm one of the complainants there. So, malinaw sa akin na dahil hindi natin alam kung sino kanyang mga donors, with nothing precludes na yung mga Discayas are one of them. No? So, yun yung isa. Pangalawa is, syempre, alam mo naman, di ba, sila parang whatever happens, kailangan na protektahan yung mga Diskaya kasi nga, yun yung rason kung bakit hindi nila nilalabas yung 2016 to 2022. Di ba? Di ba? Kailangan magkaroon ng defenders yung mga Diskaya para hindi sila mag-turn, mag-witness doon sa totoong mga nakulimbat nila from 2022 to 2016 to 2022 at i-focus nila yung laban sa 2023 to 2025. Pomo ko. So, yan yun. Sa akin palagay, kailangan gawin ni Marcoleta yon para hindi mapuruhan yung mga Duterte. And yes, he's gonna be a frontrunner and frontrunner at gustong-gusto niya rin naman, di ba? At gustong-gusto rin naman ng grupo niya para maging vice president ni Sara. Ako, wish ko, sana silang dalawa, no? Para kitang-kita yung kasamaan. No? Wala ka ng duda.
On that moral clarity point, Attorney Dina De Leon, magpahinga ka na. Thank you so much for this very, very nice, healthy, constructive discussion. Hindi na natin naabutan si I, me, and myself, Senator Marcos. Grabe din yung sinabi ni Lacson. Basta ako, hindi gawa yung kumukha ko. Hindi fake yung mukha ko. Grabe talaga. Si GMRC din, kakaiba rin, no?
Basta sa akin, Richard, sa akin, everyone should be mission ready. So kung tatawagin ka rin sa politika sa 2028, why not?
All right, okay, okay. Going back to like tayo. Para sa bayan. Thank you
Sa bayan, para
for
sa
joining
bayan.
us in the latest episode. We have with us Attorney Dina De Leon, Senatorial Ball Attorney Dina De Leon. Para sa bayan na to, boss. Pero
Para
thank
sa
you again
bayan.
for inviting me to your wedding. May classic picture tuloy ako, di ba? The Fantastic
Yeah.
Five nandun
Oh, di
sa...
ba? At least
Ayan.
naiikot-lumikot kayo kasi syempre di ko magagawa yung picture na yon, di ba? Na ako yung ano yung
Oo.
unang abala ng mga time na yon. But it was fun to also see all of them in one
Pero
in
hindi
one
dumating si
event.
ano, hindi dumating si Tatay Singson. Si,
Si Dito sabi niya pupunta raw siya
hindi siya
the night
dumating.
before. Dumating naman yung mga ano niya, kapatid niya, sila Tita Jerby, no? Yung mga relatives naman nandun, no? Si Tito Chavit, unfortunately, nakarating.
Of course, we're talking about the latest hero of good governance para sa ating mga ka-DDS, aside from Leviste, Barzaga, Topacio, and all of these interesting people. Salamat, Attorney De Leon, and talk to you soon. God bless. Ingat.
Bye-bye.